What's up, guys? Today we're taking a look at this knife. This is the Chris Reeves Knives, or CRK Sabenza 31. And this particular version has these nice brown natural micarta handles. You can see the weave pattern, and this looks really cool on both sides. It's got an inlay here too. They kind of stick up. It's kind of interesting. Titanium frame lock, titanium handles, all titanium, and then running on washers. And there it is, the Chris Reeves Sabenza 31. This is the S45VN model, S45VN blade, hollow ground, made in Idaho, of course. And this is my first Chris Reeves knife, which is pretty cool. This is an expensive knife, definitely not something you get a hands on for cheap. You can see it's on, I've gotten mine pretty flickable, but it's on washers, so it's kind of a more stable, slow opener compared to bearings. It's on washers. And as you can see here, I put KPL in mine, and it's broken in really well, so well I can flick it. I actually kind of like it, being able to flick it. I know, you're not really, some people say you're not supposed to, but I like being able to flick this knife open. You can even reverse flick it if you're really good, like that, which is kind of cool. But yeah, this is a tie frame lock. You can see there, this nice kind of like stone-washed bead blast kind of titanium finish. See there, this one is particular one is perfectly centered with nice glassy action. The completely totally solid lockup, no wiggle at all in this blade, like a bank vault lockup in this guy. Really nice, beautiful knife. I think it looks really cool. It's a good looking knife. I do wish it was a little bit bigger. It's a full-size knife, and it's big, and I'll do some size comparisons here soon. But I do wish it was slightly bigger. I just think this design would do well in a slightly bigger configuration. It fits all right in the hand. Not really contoured, but the edges are knocked down, and there's not really many hot spots. This little part in here is weird. They did this massive cutout for the lock bar. You can get huge access to that lock bar there to push it over, and it's a good thing because this lock bar's tension is very strong. There's no lock bar insert, but there is an over travel stop. Or actually, sorry, no, there's no lock bar insert or over travel stop. But the over travel stop is kind of like the pocket clip is kind of stopping it. This is kind of like bare bones tie frame lock kind of deal. Only what you need, not what you don't. The idea is like less moving parts, less things to go wrong, so it's more solid and less things to break. Pretty cool design. It's time proven. I mean, these have been used for years now, and they've been solid. People know them. It's a classic in the knife industry. People know about this knife. It's like a standard now that people compare a lot of things to the Sabenza. It's the only Chris Reeve knife I've tried, and it's pretty nice. I don't like these thumb studs. These thumb studs are like volcano thumb studs. They're like really pointy, and they kind of stab your finger. I've gotten used to them flicking, but when you reverse flick, it really particularly stabs your finger because it really pokes you. There's not enough access here. They didn't cut it out enough like they did on this side. They cut it kind of like a tiny bit, but they cut this side out like a lot. So it really is meant to be used with your right hand. They do have left-hand versions as well, I guess, for left-hand people. But you can't really get as much access on this side, so the jimping is nice. I like the jimping up at the top here. Very meaningful jimping. Gets your thumb right there. It locks in pretty well. It's a good grip on this knife. Easy to actuate. Pretty easy to open. Easy to unlock as well. It's got one standoff, one singular standoff in the back. Again, not many moving parts to this. See-through construction. You can see not really no backspace or anything. It's just straight through. Full titanium handles. No milling out anywhere besides the relief cut here. Overall, an interesting knife. I think it's a pretty cool design. I definitely wouldn't go for the small one. I would go for the large one, unless you have particularly smaller hands or like smaller knives. I would go for the larger one anyway. It's a 3.6-inch blade, I believe. But I think this is a better size for this kind of style of knife. This is all my opinion, so you can take it with a grain of salt. But I like the finish they did on here. It's kind of like a stone washed, like a highly polished stonewash finish. Pretty reflective. I think it looks really good. They give you nice sharpening choil here, so you can sharpen all the way up. It feels pretty good in the hand. There's a lanyard hole as well. Pocket clip works all right. Nothing fancy. It's kind of just like a stamped clip. Nothing too fancy about that. Let's do some size comparisons on this knife. Compare it against some other USA knives that I have. Another knife in that category, that kind of USA made tier, the McNeese Mac 2 3.5 inch model. This one's on bearings, of course. You can see there's a good size comparison. Let's also compare it to some other USA knives. ZT 308 and the Spyderco PM2. So yeah, you can see it's definitely not as big as those. Maybe about the same size as the PM2 in overall length. Compare it to a couple more. How about some smaller knives? The Benchmade Bug Out and the QSP Penguin. There you can see it's a bit bigger than those. These are about like regular size knives, I would call them, but I like bigger blades, so I think they're a little bit on the smaller end for at least my hands. But you can see there, it's bigger than the Bug Out and the Penguin. And we'll also compare it to some other American knives I've got here, the MSI, Microtech MSI, and the Benchmade Adamas. There you go. You can see there, it's a little bit smaller than those. So not quite a large knife, but I would call it medium large if you're for a normal person. For me, it's medium. Let's take the weight on this. I keep forgetting to do weights in my reviews, and I need to remember to do that. But the weight on this is full tie frame lock, so you're looking at 4.4 ounces, which is pretty darn good for a full titanium knife. It's a pretty good weight on there, so especially for if you're getting 3.6 inches of blade, cutting edge blade, or whatever. So definitely cool. Definitely proven the test of time. So really cool design. Nice blade. Not my style. It's kind of a slower. I like bearing action with flipper tabs and stuff. Flipper tabs and thumb studs on bearings, like my 308. I like knives that are just a little bit bigger and really good action. And maybe not even just bigger, but just better action and you know, bearing action is what I mean, not better action. It has excellent action for washers. For washers, it has very smooth and very consistent glassy action. If you've handled the Chris Reeve knife, you probably know what I'm talking about. But it's just not my style. I like flipper knives and knives on bearings that open quick. I like drop shutty knives as well. It's an excellent knife. Definitely, if you're looking for a knife with bearings, good for hard use because it's or knife with washers. Sorry, good for hard use because the washers will not let dirt get into the pivot as much. It won't gum it up as easily as bearings will. The washers will definitely hold up better than bearings, I think. But definitely good work knife. If you want one of these and you plan to use it, definitely recommend using it if you plan to get one. They're worth it. But if that's not your style, if you like, you know, knives with flipper tabs or thumb studs on bearings or whatever, then I would not recommend this for that kind of application. I like knives with bearings and stuff, so it's a little bit slower for me. I still have fun opening it and stuff. It can be fidgety if you get yours nice and smooth like this where you can flick it out, but it's definitely not drop shut. I mean, not drop shut at all. It's tight. It's very tight action, which means that it's built well though. So it's very solid. It feels very solid. Everything feels like it's working together and being held together very well. So those are my thoughts on the Chris Reeve knives Sabenza 31. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know if you guys have a Chris Reeve knife, and what kind, what version. They also have these in MagnaCut now, which is pretty cool. Let me know what you guys think of this knife, and thank y'all for watching. Like this video, subscribe to my channel, and have a wonderful day. Bye.